This is the Specht Sohne Aquanaut Homage. It's a very popular model that really put this new Chinese brand on the map. But is it worth it? Is it as good as its looks suggest? Well, if you're thinking about buying this watch, then check out this review first and hopefully it will help you decide if this watch is right for you. At the end of the day, I think most of us want to find out if it's just another cheap Aquanaut copy, or perhaps it has something more to offer. Specht Sohne. This is a relatively new Chinese brand that has been launching some very interesting watches lately. Currently, none of their products offers an original design. They're all homages of popular brands, including Patek Philippe, Tissot, Rolex and Tag Heuer. Let's talk a little about the name. So, Specht Sohne. Clearly a made-up German name to make it sound more expensive and European, as some of the Aliexpress brands tend to do. Actually, if we translate it, it literally means Sohne and Sons. I have to say that out of all the Aliexpress watch brand names, I like this one. Even though it's imitating a fake German name, it doesn't sound ridiculous like Didun, Xdao, Hrudland, Pagani Design and most of the other Aliexpress brands. The Geneva text though, that's a bit misleading and I guess unethical, but I doubt anyone who's buying a $65 watch is expecting it to be Swiss made from Geneva. Bottom line, I don't really mind the name at all, rather like it and prefer it over all the other alternatives. I wish more Aliexpress brands would change their brand names to something more palatable that makes more sense, rather than the nonsensical gibberish they come up with. But let's go back to this specific model. It's clearly an Aquanaut homage. Currently the watch is available in 7 different colors. It comes in grey, blue, green, black with orange details and rose gold, which I have in my hands. In my opinion, the rose gold is the best one, but you can't really go wrong with any of the other colors. With the exception of the rose gold one, all the others feature a silver stainless steel case. It comes with a rubber strap that matches the dial color. The black dial version with the orange details comes with a bright orange strap, very similar to the Aquanaut one, which makes the watch really pop. I have to say, I really like that one. Let's talk design, case and build. It's a faithful representation of the Aquanaut case and design, so we can't really mention anything about originality or unique design cues. I guess you could say it's one step away from buying a blatant copy, but honestly, anyone who buys this knows very well what it is and what it represents. But let's delve deeper into the specifics of the case. The top bezel is brassed and you can tell this is an area where they saved money as the brassing is more rough, not as refined and seems more superficial. It doesn't go very deep, so I'm wondering how it will hold up after some wear and tear. There is a beveled edge on the bezel which is nicely polished. The lugs are polished as well on top and on the back and brassed on the sides. There's a nice transition to the crown guards which are polished alongside the beveled edges. The crown is polished as well and has no engraving, logo or marking of any kind. The edges at the back of the bezel are a bit sharp and rough at the touch, but you don't really feel it when wearing the watch on your wrist. It's only noticeable when you glide your fingers across that you can tell the finishing is not that good. It features a hardlex crystal which is completely flat, but this is the same as the Aquanaut. I guess we can't complain much that it doesn't come with a sapphire crystal. At this price, it's justifiable. On the product page, it states that it's water resistant to 30 meters, although I wouldn't take it into the water if I were you, nor even in the shower, and I still have second thoughts about splashing a lot of water on it when washing my hands. It doesn't have a screw down crown, it's just a push-pull crown, and I have to admit it feels flimsy and not very sturdy. I'm always nervous when pulling it out just at the time. The crown guards are really slim. The crown is really small and it's very hard to grip and pull out. Every time I try, it's really difficult and I have to fiddle about. If you don't have the most slender fingers, be prepared for a struggle. I have to say, it's probably the biggest downside of this watch, to the extent that when I'm in a hurry, it's never my go-to choice because I know it will be a nightmare to set the time. At least it's automatic, because if it needed daily winding, that would have been a major turnoff. Let's move on to the dimensions. So, the listed dimensions on the Aliexpress product page state that it's 42mm in diameter, 11mm thick, and it has a lug width of 21mm. Let's check it out though and see if these dimensions are actually correct, because you can never trust an Aliexpress listing. We have 40mm in diameter, 11.26mm thick, a lug-to-lug measurement of 47.32mm, and a lag width of 21mm. Honestly, this is a great set of dimensions, making the watch fit on most wrists, especially medium-sized to smaller ones like mine. I have a 6.75-inch wrist for reference. Also, the 11mm height make it very slender and it can easily slip under a cuff if you're so inclined to wear it with a more formal outfit, which you could definitely do. I mean, it's a sports watch, but it's clean, simple, and small enough to be worn in more formal settings without looking out of place. The lag width is the only outlier here. I think 21mm doesn't make much sense. 20mm would have been ideal, but it's not the end of the world. You'd be a bit hard pressed to pair this with another strap anyway. But even so, there's plenty of options on Aliexpress for 21mm straps. Let's see how it wears on the wrist with some wrist shots and pocket shots. Again, my wrist is 6.75 inches or about 17 centimeters wide, so I have pretty slim wrists and I think it looks great. And this is one of the key selling points for this watch, at least in my eyes. Let's flip it over and check the caseback. It offers a display caseback, which is a nice little surprise for this price range. I have to say, usually we get solid casebacks at this price, but here you can see through to the DG2813 movement, which I'm going to talk about later. The perimeter of the caseback is engraved. It reads stainless steel, water resistant, Specht Sohne. The engraving is clear and precise, no complaints here whatsoever. It's worth mentioning that the caseback is in silver color, even though I have the rose gold model in my hands. They've used the same casebacks across all the models to save on costs, which is fine. At the end of the day, you don't even see the caseback unless you take it off and flip it over, so I definitely don't mind it. Let's talk about the movement. The movement is a DG2813. It's an original Chinese movement and not an ETA 2823 clone as many websites claim, but it does have a similar construction to the ETA 2823 and the Miyota 8215. It has 21 jewels and boasts a power reserve of around 44 hours, which isn't bad at all. That said, I haven't really tested to confirm, but it definitely has a decent power reserve and lasts over 1.5 days. Overall, it's not a bad movement, but don't expect it to be well regulated or super reliable. It's a ubiquitous Chinese movement used by a lot of factories and watch brands in China, but it's definitely on the lowest end of the spectrum. It's a low budget movement. A Seiko NH35 is a tad more expensive and offers better reliability. That said, I have had several watches with this movement and never had any problems. Sure, they may not be the most accurate ones, but at the same time, for $65, there's only so much you can expect. And let's not forget, you do get an automatic movement. NH35 movement watches are a bit more expensive, starting at around $80 or so for the cheapest ones, so I can't really fault it. If it ever breaks, it's cheaper to replace, no point in repairing it. What about the dial though? The dial is an Aquanaut Homage with the exact same globe pattern. There are printed indices for the hours and minutes on the outer track and applied Arabic numerals for the hours filled with Lume. The hour and minute hands are stainless steel with plenty of lume, and the second hand is white, offering a nice contrast with the dark brown background. The legibility is excellent, no issues at all, even in low light environments. Below the 12th marker, there is a text with the name Specht Sohne in all capitals and Geneve right below it with smaller font, all in white to add to the contrast and legibility. There is also a date window at 3 o'clock, replacing the 3-hour marker. For the money, the dial is okay, don't really have any criticism. It's very legible, has applied indices, and everything is well aligned. Let's talk about the strap and the clasp. This is an area where a lot of Chinese brands cut costs. Is this the case for the Specht Sohne as well? This watch only comes with a strap, which personally I think works wonders with its design. I don't think a bracelet would look nice with this. I mean, even the original Patek Philippe Aquanaut offers a bracelet variant, which hasn't proven popular at all. Everyone prefers a rubber strap version for obvious reasons, I would say. It suits the watch perfectly and makes the design and colors pop even more, as it doesn't really have a diver bezel, so not much of an organic contrast going on for it. Honestly, the rubber strap of the Specht Sohne is better than expected, especially considering the cost. It's soft and malleable, and it drapes around your wrist very easily. It doesn't need any breaking in. It also feels better than the average Aliexpress rubber strap. It feels durable and should last you no problem, even if you wear it every day. I have been wearing it a lot and I haven't noticed any wear and tear. The clasp is a butterfly clasp with buttons on either side. On top of the clasp you can find the logo, which is a bird flying mid-air, and the name Specht Sohne. I think it looks rather nice, and it's a nice attention to detail, as a lot of cheap brands on AliExpress forgo adding the logo or the brand name on the clasp to save money, so credit where credit's due. Not only that, but the brand name is engraved on the bottom side as well, which certainly makes it look much more expensive than $65. Overall, the clasp and the closing may not be the best, but it's definitely not the worst either. It's not flimsy, it closes nicely and feels sturdy. I haven't had any issues or complaints all this time. The Lume, alongside the crown, those are the two biggest flaws of this watch. The Lume is pretty much non-existent. I couldn't even manage to take a good enough shot, as it was too weak to show on camera. It's a shame because it seems that the hands and indices have plenty of lumed surface, but I guess it's just too weak. Probably they have only applied a very thin layer, so it can't hold any luminescence. Its only redeeming value is that the hands and the dial have a nice contrast, so you can tell the time in low light environments with ease. But if the lume is something you consider important when buying a watch, then this reason alone is enough to skip this watch, honestly. Final thoughts. At the time of shooting this video, the price on the official Specht Sohne AliExpress store is $65 or €63 or £54 depending on your location. There is also a 5% off coupon you can claim, so you can bring it down to around $61, $62. I have owned this watch for several months now, and I have to admit, I wear it more often than I expected. Its compact dimensions make it very appealing. It's sporty, yet slim and elegant. Well, to call things by their name, I guess we have Patek Philippe to thank for this. As I said, the accuracy is not the best, and I wouldn't take it swimming or submerge it in water, but all in all, I really like it and have enjoyed wearing it. If you don't mind the clear copy of the Aquanaut's design, I think it offers a great budget deal, with the major drawbacks being the lume and the crown action. Thank you for watching my review. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing. This was my first ever YouTube video. See you in the next one.